Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sophia Abdusalam. In my last video, I did a tutorial on how to take measurement for a female trouser. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to draft the pattern and how to achieve this contoured fit you are seeing on me right now. If this is something you're interested in, please stay with me to the end of this video. And if this is your first time on the channel, do well to like, share, and please subscribe. So without further ado, let's get started with the pattern drafting. So to start with, I've gone ahead to mark down 1 inch from the top of the paper. So this line is going to be my waistline. Then from there, I'm going to mark down my hip depth measurement, which is 8.5, my crotch depth measurement, which is 11.5, waist to knee measurement, which is 24.5, and my full trouser length measurement, which is 45. Please, the line on the side there is just the margin line, and all my measurements will be starting from there as well. So now the next thing I want to do is to impute my round measurement, and I'm going to be going in first with my hip. So you are going to do your hip divided by 4 minus 1/4 of an inch. My hip is 42.5. So for 2.5 divided by 4 gave me 10.625 or something. So I am now going to minus 1/4 of an inch from it. The reason why I'm minusing 1/4 of an inch from it is because we all know that as African women generally, we are fuller at the hip, we are fuller at the back on the hip area than we are at the front. So that 1/4 of an inch is to create allowance for your bum at the back. So this 1/4 of an inch, I'm going to add it to my hip when I'm drafting the back pattern. I hope you understand it. So I'm going to mark it on the crotch line and on the waist line. So I'm just telling you that this line is a margin line and all my measurements is going to start from there. So I'll mark that hip divided by 4 minus 1/4 of an inch on my waistline as well. So I'm going to be connecting it with a line. So from here to here, I'm going to be using a straight line like this. Then from the hip line to the waistline, I'm going to be using a broken line, because this line is supposed to be our front line, but because I am going to be going in on the waistline from this line up here, yes, I'm going to go in by 1/2 of an inch. The essence of this 1/2 of an inch is because, and I'm going to connect it to the hip line. The essence of this is just to make the front area flat and relaxed by the time you are wearing it. So I'm going to use a straight line here. So this line is now going to be my center front line. So I can now cross out this part of the paper. It is no longer part of my pattern. I hope you get. So the next thing I want to do now is to create my crotch extension. To create my crotch extension, the first thing I'm going to do is on the crotch line from the side, I am going to go in by 1/2 of an inch. Okay, go in by 1/2 of an inch. From this 1/2 of an inch, you are now going to project your round thigh divided by 2. My round thigh measurement is 25. 25 divided by 2 gave me 12.5. So I'm going to measure that 12.5 from the 1/2 inch I marked. So now ear to ear is now our crotch extension. But note that measure what you have from here to here. So whatever you have there, if you are on the plus size, you must not have anything less than 2 inches. And if you are on the small size, you must not have anything less than 1.75. So if you measure your own and it's not up to this value, please adjust it accordingly. So for plus size, you must not have anything less than 2, and for small size, you must not have anything less than 1.75 or 1.75. So you can have 2, you can have 3, you can have 4, you can have 5, but nothing less than those values. So the next thing we want to do now is to create our crotch curve. To do that, from this crotch extension point, I'm going to go down by 1/2 of an inch like this. So to get the exact point for my crotch extension, I'm going to measure everything I have here down to the margin line and project it on this 1/2 inch mark just to get the exact point. So now we need to determine how high our crotch is going to be. To do that, I'm going to connecting this point to this point with a straight line. You can use a fringe line, it doesn't have to be very visible. So then you are going to measure what you have here and get the midpoint. Yes, get the midpoint. Then you are going to use a straight line. You are going to connect this point to this angle with a straight line. Yes, connect these 2 points to this point to the midpoint. Yes, together with a straight line. So now, to know how high your crotch is going to be, this is fixed. If you are on the plus size, you are going to go up on this line by 1.25, that is 1.25. But if you are on the small size, do 1.125. This 1.125 means after 1 inch, then you are going to go one small line after 1 inch. So for small size person, but for big size person, go 1.25, that is 2 lines after 1 inch, that is 1.25. I hope you understand. My hip is 42.5 and I think it's on the plus side, so I'm going to be doing 1.25, that is 1.25 for myself. So I'll mark that now and connect it. So now, to further create our crotch curve, I will need to take my French curve and connect this point to this 1.25, then to the hip point. If you can do this with your free hand, no problem, but if you have this French curve, it will be really nice. I think I prefer to use this French curve. So just connect these 3 points together like this smoothly. Please make sure it is smooth. So now we are done with our crotch curve. The next thing we want to do now is to work on the waist, then create our hip curve. So now for my waist waist is 28. 28 divided by 4 is going to give me 7. But I am not going to mark this 7 exactly. I will add 1/4 inch to it. This is because our tummy generally is not flat. African women, our tummy is not flat. So this 1/4 inch is to create space for your tummy at the front. You can do your waist divided by 4 exactly, no problem. But I just like doing it the same way I did on the hip. I just like doing it on the waist as well. So whatever your waist divided by 4 is, add 1/4 inch to it. So this 1/4 inch that I'm adding, by the time I'm drafting the back pattern, when I do waist divided by 4, I'm going to minus it. But for the front, you are going to add 1/4 inch like this. So mine is 7.25 now. Then I'm going to be adding my dart allowance. But the dart allowance I'm going to be doing is 0.75, which is 3/4 inch. I don't like doing too much dart on the front area. In fact, if you can do without dart at the front because it's better. But I know some people like to do dart on their clothes. That's why I'm doing it. So I'm doing 3/4 inch like this. Then the next thing now is I am going to connect from the waist to the hip. To connect from the waist to the hip, I'm going to go up from the hip line by 1 inch like this. Then I'm going to take my French curve to connect from here on the waist to the point on the hip. Then like that. So let's start with the waist to the hip. So just connect it smoothly. You don't have to place your curve ruler to make it too curvy. If it is too curvy, you are trying to build the hip that you do not have, except if you know your hip is full. So make sure you don't place the ruler, don't make it too curvy there. So now to connect from the hip to the 1/2 inch on the crotch line, I'm going to go down by 1/2 inch, then 1 inch. What I'm doing is just a guide for me to create this curve. It's just a guide for me to create this curve. I don't know if 1/2 inch works, if 1 inch works. It's just to create a smooth curve, that's all, nothing else. The essence of that 1/2 inch and 1 that I went down by, please, it's just for me to create a smooth curve, whichever one works. So now we need to create our dart line. So I'm just going to measure everything we have here, including from the margin line, and get the midpoint. Then I'm going to mark this on the hip line, the waist line, the crotch line, the knee line, and on the hem line. And I'm going to connect it with a straight line. Please just measure everything you have from the crotch line, get the midpoint, and project it across the paper like this. So now this is our dart line. The next thing I'm going to do now is just to shear my dart on the waist, shear it like on both sides of this our dart line. So my dart allowance is 3/4 inch. So I've sheared it. Now I'm going to connect it into the hip line like this. Yes, into the hip line. I'm going to connect it. I don't do go down by 5 inches for your to connect it. I connect it straight to the hip like this. So now we are done with the most important part of this particular method. If you want to achieve a contoured fit, that is the part we have just finished, is the most important part. So now I want to show you, let's say you want to make a pencil trouser for your client. So I'm going to show you how to achieve that. You can all see that the fit of this one I made for myself is not a pencil. I'm still going to show you, but I just want to show you how to achieve a pencil trouser. So what you are going to do for a pencil trouser is, on the knee, your round knee divided by 4. Then whatever you have, mark it on both sides of the paper like this from the center line. My own is 16 divided by, forgive me, 4, so I mark 4 on both sides. So now whatever you have, you will need to connect it. So to connect for the side, you will need to use the back of your French cuff like I am doing, please. So, and make sure that you place your French cuff in a way that the cuff is going to be smooth. So can you see that I'm using a broken line to connect it? It's because the fit of this particular trouser that I wore, it is not a pencil, but I just want to show you that's why I'm using a broken line to do it. So now on the hip, now the ankle line, which is the full trouser length, you are going to project your ankle round divided by 4. My ankle was, I think, 13 divided by 4 gave me 3 1/4. So that 3 1/4, I'm going to mark it on both sides of the paper, like from the dart line, on both sides of the dart line. So now I'm going to connect from the knee to the hem like this with a broken line. Like I told you, the fit of the trouser I am making with this pattern is not a pencil, but I am showing you how to do a pencil. I'm using one stone to kill 2 birds at a time. So now the fit that you are seeing on screen right now, how did I do it? So to do that, I'm going to need my hip as a guide. So to do that, I'm going to do my hip divided by 4. Then I am going to minus 1 inch from it. So my hip divided by 4 is 9 and 10.6. So I'm going to be sticking with 10 and a half. 10 and a half divided minus 1 gave me 9 and a half. So that 9 and a half, and I divided by 2 again to give me 4.75. Then I mark it on both sides of the dash line on the knee line like this. I hope you understand. So do your round knee, your hip divided by 4 minus 1 inch. Whatever you have, then divide it by 2 and mark it on both sides of your paper. That is on both sides of the dart line, both on the knee and on the ankle line like I am doing. Then you are going to connect it with a straight line. Again, hip divided by 4, whatever you have, minus 1 inch from it. Then whatever you have, divide it by 2, then mark it on both sides of the dart line, both on the knee line and on the hem line. So to connect from the crotch to the knee on the side, I used the back of my cuff like I did earlier. Then this part, I used a straight line. Please use a straight line to connect it. Don't use the curvy part of your ruler. I hope you understand it. So like this now, I am done with the, I am like 90% done with the front pattern. I'm just going to label it like this. So the next thing I'm going to talk about now is the inseam measurement. I hope you still remember inseam measurement. So I am now going to measure my inseam measurement to be sure it is correct. So I am going to measure from this ½ inch from here, and I'm going to measure it down to the hem. My hip inseam measurement is 33 inches. So let's see what we have on the pattern paper. So 33 inches. So if you can see it, you can see that my own inseam measurement is correct, because I measured my trouser length to the floor length, and I measured my inseam measurement to the floor length. So now this means that the crotch depth measurement I use is perfect, it is correct. So this is my own another method for you to determine your crotch depth measurement for those who are, you understand. So this is another way for you to just measure your full trouser length measurement, measure your inseam measurement, subtract it from each other. Whatever you have is going to be your crotch depth measurement. That is it, another way. So now let's take for example, there are cases, it has happened to me before, that the inseam measurement I did was longer than the trouser length measurement, please use the longer one. If you measure your inseam measurement and it's longer than your trouser length measurement, please maintain the inseam measurement. Or if you now measure your inseam measurement and it's shorter than your trouser length measurement, please maintain the longer one. I hope you understand me. Maintain the longer one. So let's start drafting the back pattern. So to draft the back pattern, I went down 2 inches from the top of the paper. On the side, I did 2 inches as well. Then from the top to the down, I measured my hip depth measurement, my crotch depth measurement, my waist to knee measurement, and my trouser length measurement, like this. So now the next thing I'm going to be imputing is my round measurement, and I'm going to be starting with the hip like I did for the front. So now in this case, I'm going to be doing my hip divided by 4 plus 1/4 inch. You know, when I was doing the front, I minus 1/4 inch, but for the back, I'll be adding that 1/4 inch back. So my hip is 42.5. For 2.5 divided by 4 gave me 10.625. Then plus 1/4 inch gave me 10.8 something. So I just figure it out on the tape and mark it. Then I'm going to mark it on the crotch line and on the waistline, like this. So to connect it from the waist to the hip line, I'm going to be using a broken line to connect it. Then from the hip line to the crotch line, I'm going to be using a straight line like this, like we did when I was doing the front, because this is supposed to be our center back line, but we still need to do 1 or 2 things, so that's why I'm using a broken line. So now to get our crotch extension, on the crotch line on the side, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch like we did for the front. Then from this side, I'm going to project my round thigh divided by 2. My round thigh is 12.5, divided by 2 is 12.5. So now this is the trick. This back part, we need to make it bigger than the front. So if you are on the plus side, add 1.25, that is 1/4, to reduce your crotch extension. But if you are on the small side, just add 1 inch to this your crotch extension. I hope you understand. So now we need to create our crotch curve. To do that, go down by 1/2 inch. Then to get the exact point on this 1/2 inch mark, measure everything you have on that line and project it to get the exact point, like this. So now we need to determine how high is our crotch going to be. But before that, we need to get our diagonal line. So get a diagonal line like this, measure it and get the midpoint like this. Once you are done, draw a straight line that goes from that intersection through the midpoint, like this. So now this one is quite straightforward. So whether you are on the plus size or on the small size, go up diagonally here by 1.75. Whether you are small, if 30 or if 25 or if 50, do 1.75. I hope you get it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is on the waist here, from this center line, I am going to go in by 1.75. Then I'm going to go up by 1 inch from there. But to get a straight line that goes out, I just marked it out like that. So make sure you go up from the waist, go up and measure 1 inch. Okay, go up. I'm sorry it's not quite visible. Just go up by 1 inch, measure 1 inch up. Now this 1.75 that we went in by, that is 1/3, please, it is like it varies. Now you need to consider your waist measurement. You know, you will need to first do your waist divided by 4, then add your dart allowance, then mark it on the waistline, measure from after the 0.75. If what you have left will not be enough for you to draw your hip curve, please reduce this 1.75 to like maybe 1 inch or 3/4 inch. I hope you understand. Reduce it. But like, let's take my own for example. My own waist is 28. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Then I'm going to minus in that 1/4 inch that we added for the front. I hope you still remember it. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch dart allowance, which is just going to give me 7 point something. So now I'm going to mark it. You see, I still have enough. This space I have here should be enough for me to do my hip curve. But let's say your own is already getting to this line. Please reduce this 1.75 to like 1/4 inch or 1 inch accordingly. I hope you understand it. So now that I am done, it is now time for me to create my crotch curve. To create my crotch curve, I'm going to measure my hip depth, waist to hip depth measurement like this, and I'm going to get the midpoint. From your waist to the hip depth, get the midpoint. So from this midpoint, I'm going to connect with a straight line to the 1 inch I went up by here. You understand? But you see this midpoint that I did, this midpoint here, it doesn't always work like that. But I just want to show you so that you too can see it. I'm going to first connect with a straight line, but I won't make the line very obvious. Then I need to connect this point to this point to this point. But we need to make sure that the line is smooth. So let me show you what I'm saying by that midpoint doesn't always work. Can you see what is going on here now? Can you see that the curve is not giving? So now I will need to go down by 1 inch from this point like this. Please, I hope I'm not confusing you, and I hope you understand it, and connect to the 1 inch I went up by. So now I'm going to redraw the curve. So you can go, just make sure that you get a smooth curve. The midpoint that we got, but when I measured my waist to hip depth measurement, get the midpoint and mark on the center line, it's just a guide. You can go below that midpoint, can go below as much as 1.5, just to make sure that you get a nice smooth curve. Because if this curve is not smooth, it is going to show on your clothes when you are done making it. So now I am going to clean this part. Now the essence of the 1 inch I went up by is just to make sure that when your client is bending, their panties is not showing. So you should always do it, and please don't do more than 1 inch. Okay, so now I can proceed to do my hip curve. You know, I already marked out my waist divided by 4 here, minus 1/4 inch that I added on the front waist, then plus 1 inch that allowance. Then I'm going to connect it to the 1 inch I went up by slightly. I'm so sorry it is not showing. I didn't know my camera didn't catch it. So now to create my hip curve, on the hip line went up by 1 inch, then connect to the waist like this. Please make sure that the ruler, the way you are pressing your ruler, it is not very curvy. Please don't make it too curvy. If it is too curvy, it will show on the cloth. I hope you understand. You can use the other ruler if you have, or use your friend, just don't make it too curvy. Then I connected from the hip to the crotch. Now we need to get our dart line like I did when I was doing the front. I measure everything I have on the crotch line, then get the midpoint. Then I'm going to extend it upward and downward. Then I'm going to use my straight line to connect it straight. So mark the midpoint on the waistline, on the knee line, on the crotch line, and on the hem line. Then take your straight ruler to connect it. So now I am done with that. The next thing I want to do now is to share my dart allowance. The dart allowance I did is 1 inch, so I'm just going to share it after on both sides of the dart line, and I'm going to connect it straight into the hip like this. So now I am done with the most important part of this particular method for a contoured fit. So the next thing I want to show you now is if you want to do a pencil trouser. Now this is the back part. I want to show you how to do a pencil trouser. So divide your round knee by 4. Whatever you have, mark it on both sides of the line like this. Mine is 16 divided by 4 gave me 4. I mark 4 on both sides, which makes it a total of 8. Then I'm going to be adding extra 1 inch on both sides because we need to make the back bigger than the front. That is a normal thing. I hope you understand it. So add 1 inch to both sides, which makes it 5 for me. So now to connect it, now I'm going to be using the back of my ruler to connect from the crotch to the knee like this. I'm using a broken line because it is just me showing you this. What I want to achieve is not a pencil. Then on the ankle, I am going to do my round ankle divided by 4, which gave me 3 1/4. Then I'm going to mark it on both sides of the dart line. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch on both sides after that. I hope you understand it. Then I'm going to take my straight ruler to connect from the knee into the ankle line. I hope you understand it like this. So after this, I am going to show you how I achieve the fit that we are working on. So now for the fit that I'm working on, I'm going to be using my hip as a guide again. So what I'm going to do is my hip divided by 4, like I did for the front. My hip divided by 4 is 10.6, but I make it 10.5. Then I minus 1 inch from it to give me 9.5. So that 9.5, I'm going to be marking it now. 9.5 divided by 2. Then I'm going to mark it on both sides of the line. Then I'm going to be adding extra 1 inch. We need to make the back bigger than the front. Then that same thing that I mark on the knee, hip divided by 4 minus 1. Then whatever you have divided by 2. Then mark it on both sides of the line. Then add 1 inch, which makes a total of 2 inches, just to make the back bigger than the front. I hope you understand it. So connect it with a straight line like this. Again, do your hip divided by 4, whatever you have minus 1 from it. Then whatever you now have after minusing 1, divide it by 2 and mark it on both sides of the dot line. Okay, on both sides of the dot line. So then whatever you have again, add 1 inch on both sides of the dot line. I hope you get it. So after that, I'm going to connect it. As usual, use the curvy part of your ruler to connect this side. Then this front side, use a straight line. So this is what I did to achieve the fit that I showed you in the beginning of this video. I hope you understand it. So now we are like 80% done for the back now. So before we proceed, we are going to check our inseam measurement again. So I want to explain better. No, I said my inseam measurement is 33, but let's say it's 32. So that 32 will be falling just before my trouser length. So I am going to maintain my trouser length. I'm going to maintain the long one. But let's say my inseam measurement is 34. That means I will have to increase the trouser length I measured to that 34. I hope you understand it. So now we are almost done. The next thing now is to adjust our crouch. Now I measured my front crouch measurement and it gave me 12.5. The full crouch measurement I measured was 30 inches. Now what this means is that I need to measure what I have from here to here, and I must have exactly 12.5 on that line. For this is my front pattern. I've brought out my front pattern. Then for the back, I need to do 30 inches full crouch measurement minus front, which gave me 17.5. But now let's focus on the front crouch first. Now let's measure what I have here. I must have 12.5, which is what I measured on my body when I was taking the measurement. So what I have here is 13.25. What this means is that this front crouch measurement is like 3/4 inches bigger than what I need. So this is actually small and quite straightforward. So to do that, what I'm just going to do is that I'm going to go to the top here and do a true waistline. Just go down from the waistline by 0.75 that I have in XX, then connect it into the side. I hope you understand it. So if you do your measurements right and you do everything correctly, you should not have so much excess on this crouch. Like my own is just 0.75. You can have as much as 1. Okay, you can have as much as 1. So my own is, which is totally okay, you can easily take it out from there. So before I now cut this out, I'm just going to check my dart legs and be sure that they are equal. I know you understand what I'm trying to say. So just check your dart legs, adjust it accordingly on the pattern paper before you cut it out. So another thing is, this pattern that we have drafted, we have done it in such a way that if you cut this out exactly on your fabric and you sew it, you don't need to put band. Just use bias or cut facing for the waist area. But if you now want to put band on your own trouser, what you are going to do is you are going to go to the side. You are going to determine how much band do you want to do. Is it 1 inch? Is it 1.5? So to do that, you will not go to the waist area. You are going to measure your band allowance, measure it down. So let's say 1.5. So from here, go down by 1.5. Then on the side, go down by 1.5. Then use your straight line to connect it like this. Can you see? Then label it your band. You can either cut it out from this pattern paper or fold it in, anyhow you want to do it. Okay, I will explain it better. Now let's do the back crouch. Now I said that to get our back crouch, do your full crouch minus your front crouch. Whatever you have is going to be your back. What I have is 17.5. So I'm going to measure what I have here now. What I have on my crouch on the pattern is 14.5. So 14.5 means I am 3 inches short. If I do 17.5 minus 14.5, which is 3 inches, that means I still need to add 3 inches to this pattern paper to complete my full crouch. I mean my back crouch. I hope you get it. So to do that, you are going to measure what you have from your waistline to your crouch depth line like this. Whatever you have, divide it into 3. So I'm just trying to divide it now. Divide it into 3 like this. I will take my clearer pencil to draw the line so that you can see it. So now we need to do something called slash and spread to achieve this. So now, where are we slashing? You are going to slash this second line, the one that is close to the hip. You are going to slash it open. So when you slash it open, then we can now spread it out to give us our 3 inches that we need. Don't worry, I'm going to show you. But before you cut it out, measure what you have on the line you want to open from your normal thing and record it down. What I have is 11 inches and I have recorded it. So now I can slash it open. Open it down to the margin line. You know that side of the paper is not part of my pattern. So please be careful. So now, for you to be able to see what I'm doing, I'm going to be using a brown paper underneath. So I'm just going to place a brown paper like this, and I'm going to tape the down part down to the brown paper. You are going to just watch what I'm doing closely. You will understand it. It's not difficult, please. So I'm just going to use my brown paper to tape the down part down like this. Then don't shift the down part. The only one we need to shift is the upper part. Then for it to open, you know the 2 inches is too much. I just folded it a bit. Can you see? I folded it so that this place will open up for me. So now I need to add my 3 inches shortage. So what I'm going to do is from this point here, can you see, from this point, please don't lose that line. I'm just going to go up by 3 inches that I need. Go up by 3 inches that you need, just like I am doing. Then take your paper and place it on it like this. You can use something to hold your paper down while you tape it down with your paper tape. I hope you can see it. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not going beyond or below that 3 inches like this. Tape it down neatly. And do you notice that I only shifted the upper cut, not the down part of the trouser? So now that you have done that, you now need to redraw your back cuff like this. So now the reason why I'm showing you this part where I'm drawing this cuff is to let you know that if you are doing your own, you might not find it easy to you might not find it straightforward to draw your cuff. Okay, so that does not mean you are not doing it right though. That is just the nature of the pattern. So just make sure you do it. Just take your time. You don't have to be in a rush. So just take your time to make sure you get a smooth cuff. You don't want a cuff that is bulging anywhere. And do not touch the cuff that is down. It is only the up that you are allowed to touch. Can you see the part I'm adjusting? You see that I didn't touch anything. I didn't touch this down part. Okay, it is only the upper part you are redrawing, not down. This part of the cuff is already fine. It's just this upper part and the new one that this brown paper side up that you need to correct and make sure it's fine. I hope you understand. So now my cuff, I have drawn it fine. Now if you notice, after we draw our cuff, there is a shortage on this part of the paper. Can you see there is a shortage? So now I will need to measure the 11 inches that I kept before, that I measured and kept. I will need to measure it from this shortage. Can you see? We need to replace it. Now we'll measure the 11 inches from here now and extend it to the back like this. So that is why you need to record it before you measure it and record it before you slash it open. So now I will need to redraw my side cuff. Again, don't place your cuff like this. It's too curvy. So just draw a ruler. So just push it. Make sure it is not too curvy. Then I am going to turn the French cuff upside down to connect it to the crouch line like this. Again, don't make it too curvy. If it is too curvy, it is going to show and it's going to be pointy on your trouser when you are done. So place your ruler in a way that is not curvy. Okay, so now that I have redrawn the curve, we can now, I'm just trying to use my purple pen to outline the real thing, the real pattern, so that you can see it clearly. So now that we have redrawn the curve, you need to measure your crouch again to be sure you have exactly what I need. What I need is 17.5. So can you see it now? It is fine. That means I can now cut this pattern out and it is ready for me to cut it on fabric. I hope you understand it. I hope you get it. I hope it does not confuse you in any way. Please, if you are still here and you really like this pattern, please, I would advise you to not look at all the stress that goes into making it, because the fit is totally worth it. You are going to love it. So you can try it for yourself first before you start doing it for your client, just for you to master the O slash and spread thing. But it's totally worth it. You are going to love it. You are going to love the fit. Okay, so now I can cut it out. So that thing I was saying regarding band, another thing you are going to do is to measure what you have here. Measure from the crouch down to the waist on the side. Compare the front and the back like this. Okay, compare the front. Make sure you have the same thing. Actually, my own is the same. I didn't have to adjust it. Everything was perfect. Now I can cut it out on my, I can cut it out now. So my pattern is ready now for me to cut it out on fabric. So now let me explain what I was saying regarding the band again. So as you can see, I already draw out the band for the front. So from the waistline, just go down by your by how much band you need. 1 inch, 1.5. Go up center front, then side front, then use your straight line to connect it, then fold it in. I prefer you or cut it out. I prefer you fold it in because you may want to make a trouser that you don't want to put band on. Then do the same thing for the back too. On the waist, go down by your band width, 1 inch, 1.5 inch, however you want it, on the center back and on the side back. Then use your straight line to connect it. Once you are done, just fold it in like that. So now for the sewing allowance, the center front, that is the crouch for the front, I will be adding 1/2 inch. The inseam for the front, I'll be adding 1/2 inch. While on the waist, I'll be adding 1/2 inch. Then the side, I'll be adding 1 inch or 1.5 inch, depends on my mood. I hope you understand it. So for the back, the zip is going to be at the back for this trouser. So I'll be adding 1 inch on the crouch for the back, 1 inch sewing allowance. Then the inseam for the back, I'll be adding 1/2 inch, while the other side 1.5 inch and 1/2 inch. So thank you so much for watching this video. The next video is going to be on how to sew the trouser. See you guys. Bye.